I have already prayed with the others. It is painless.
It's pointless.
Because you do not believe in God. Does not mean God does not believe
Think
in
someone
you.
can spend half their life in a slam with a horse bit in their mouth and not believe? Think he could start out in some liquor store trash bin with an umbilical cord wrapped around his neck and not believe? Got it all wrong, holy man. I absolutely believe in God. And I absolutely hate the fucker.
That was a great clip I probably put on this after that I didn't set up before we started recording. Did everybody enjoy that clip?
Yeah, great. I liked it when Vin Diesel said, "Not for me. Not for me."
That's not how he says it. We're going to get into that. Welcome back to the Scare Value Podcast. We get to do a regular episode this week. I'm very excited about it because the 2.5 months of not doing regular episodes. One of my main concerns with this podcast has always been that I'm inevitably going to take its head and shove it up its own ass. And we got dangerously close for 2.5 months there. And I dare say the next 2 weeks, it's fully up the rectum.
Oh, no. I don't even know what that means.
Next week is the 1986 Scare Value Awards, where we award movies we saw in 1986. That's pretty up its own ass. And the next week is the 2-year anniversary where we watch Weird Al Yankovic's UHF.
It's a good movie.
I just don't think the podcast could get any more off the rails than it has been.
Wait till we do Yahoo Serious.
We're never
He's
doing
coming.
Yahoo Serious.
He's coming, Brian. He's young Einstein.
We're never doing that. So for the rare regular episode we've gotten to do in the last several months, it's the 25th anniversary of Vin Diesel's rise to stardom as Richard B. Riddick.
That's his name?
I really did not remember that until I rewatched it just a couple days ago. Like, oh, his name was really Richard B. Riddick.
Well, I haven't introduced you yet, so I'd appreciate it if you keep your mouth shut. I said to Pete, we're going to do Pitch Black. And I said, I want Mark back on the podcast because I think Mark's going to enjoy Pitch Black. Mark, why do I think that? Explain yourself.
Yeah.
Explain why I think you would have enjoyed this
What's
movie.
your business, sir?
'Cause I love this movie, and I know it's not good, but I love it.
I don't know why.
Is it? Is it not good?
I don't. It's all right. It's got some good ideas.
So I'll give you that. I did not like it as much as I remembered liking it.
Yeah, me too. But I loved it when I first saw it.
Yeah,
and you know what? I enjoyed how stupid a lot of it was this time around too.
No. I was waiting for a thought to arrive at the station, but nothing happened.
I got you.
Well, the only thing, it's not the only thing. I actually enjoyed the movie. I know it's not good, but it's very 2000 B movie with Jerry Seinfeld.
I get that. I understand things.
It's barely a half step up from a sci-fi original, except that Vin Diesel's fucking awesome in it. And you haven't heard this yet because I think our big Vin Diesel talk comes on the Candyman episode that comes out last week. I have an unfettered love of Vin Diesel that doesn't match up with anything else that I like in the world. And I cannot explain it. It's not ironic. I genuinely love the man. I don't know why. I love all of his movies that I've seen. I don't know why. I love the Fast and Furious movies. They're the anti-movies that I enjoy, but I love them. And Pitch Black is the one where I think he actually tried to act, and he's awesome in it.
Oh, I don't know that it was bad. Yeah, it was a sci-fi movie, but it's fun. It's a fun movie. The bugs are the Starship Trooper bugs, right?
No.
No?
No. Not exactly.
They kind of look like them.
Well, when they're in small form, I called them tiny dactyls.
That's their scientific name.
Yes. And I enjoy on a scientific level that there would be these creatures that live on a planet that's always sunny that would have to figure out how to adapt and live on a planet where there is almost always sun, except for when there's a big eclipse that I don't think mathematically worked out for how fast that planet was rising for how long that eclipse lasted, but it still was a good plot point.
Yep, that is true. Now, okay, scientifically speaking, do they just sit in the holes eating each other the whole time?
I wondered what they ate as well.
Okay.
I did notice that they attacked each other.
Yeah.
At times. So
After
they may have cannibalized themselves to survive.
I know what they're not eating is those glow bugs that clearly develop the ability to shine light to protect themselves.
Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a handy glow bug that you find in caves.
I did think about that, and after 25 years of Pitch Black, I think it's impressive that I thought about that, to be honest with you, that I put enough care in to be like, oh, it makes sense. They would have to be their natural defenses. But I don't know how they survive. But I also think it's a great plot because if in the real world, like the creatures from The Descent could come out every night, I would kill myself because that's the most terrifying thing I could think of.
I have never seen The Descent.
Well, you'll get there, I guess. I have to put that on the schedule now. A lot of the schedule is when he says, I've never seen that. Then I put it on there. And then usually he'll get 2 minutes in and go, oh, I have seen this.
But then if I get 15 minutes in, I'm like, oh, no, I haven't. But then sometimes an hour later, like, oh, yeah, I have.
I've seen the trailer.
For The Descent?
Probably.
No, I'm saying
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, he doesn't always finish the movies, as we learned.
But the trailer gives you a good, synopsis of what's happening. Like, I get it. And if you're the knock at the cabin door in the woods, then
No, you're adding to it now.
It gives you the whole movie.
Hancock, I remember spoiling the twist.
Oh, they told you right in the trailer it was terrible?
Terrible.
I hate that movie.
I like everyone in it, though.
Do you?
I do. I like Bateman. I like Will Smith.
That's what I was. That's the first thing I thought of.
I did like Will Smith back then.
Yeah, me too. What happened? He fell off a cool wagon.
He stopped making fun
He
movies.
started trying to make his son an actor.
That too. Yeah, it was all over After Earth.
Shame on you, Will Smith.
Although I blame Shyamalan for that more than anybody.
Oh yeah, that was him too.
I mean, I'll never forgive him for The Last Airbender.
That sounds personal.
It is.
That isn't like, oh, this director annoys me. You're like, fuck you, M. Night.
Speaking of directors, look at that professional segue. This was directed by David Twohy, who directed the other 2 movies and the upcoming 4th movie in the Riddick franchise.
There's a 4th one
I know
coming.
there was a 4th one coming up.
Aren't we all excited?
I'm so excited.
I never saw the second one because it looked like everything I hate about movies rolled into one. And then I did see the third one because it looked more like the first one. And it was kind of fun. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was kind of fun.
So I haven't seen the third one yet.
It's all right.
And going into Pitch Black, I was trying to remember what I remember about it, and a lot of what I remembered was actually Chronicles of Riddick.
You know, I just have no interest in a space saga. And I'm like, no, get on a planet, let them fight some fucking creatures. They're not aliens, right? Because it's their home planet. Riddick is the alien.
That's true.
I always forget that point.
But of course, to humans, all things that aren't like them are aliens. So.
I think Riddick would pay them the respect to know the difference. He was awesome in this movie. It's so interesting because now roles are obviously tailored for him. This wasn't the case. He wasn't a big star. He'd done little parts and things. And then he just like busts out as this awesome character. And they just got his voice down perfectly.
And that's what the character is. It's awesome. He's a fun character to have in a sci-fi movie, in a horror movie. It's a good blend of sci-fi and horror. And I like him a lot in this.
Well, this director also co-wrote The Fugitive, which is one of my favorite movies. And Pete and I have talked about it before, how of that mid-90s movies, like it's easily the best one of those kinds of movies. And I'm like, I don't think it has ever been close. I love that movie. And he also, Pete, co-wrote Critters 2, the main course.
No kidding. That's it? These 3 movies?
I didn't write down every movie he did.
Oh, see, when you do that, I'm like...
I wrote down the ones that would be of interest to you. So if I continued on now, you'd be like, don't know, don't care about it, don't know what it is.
Right. So right now I think he's pretty cool, but this might be just an aberration. It wasn't, he's not cool.
That's
I don't
not
know,
enough for
Mark.
you?
I don't know. He's giving me cherry-picked results here.
Yes. Tailored for you.
But my name is Pete, not Taylor.
We've done this for over 2 years now. Over 2 years I've been doing it. Actually, I guess when you're listening to this, almost 2 years. We recorded so many things out of order that I'm lost. The plot is very simple, and it tacks on two kind of, one really fun thing and one kind of like, I don't care about character development. But the plot is very easy. They crash on a no, I guess it's not that easy. They crash on a planet with 3 suns, and I don't know if he's going my 3 sons. I don't know if he's
That's
going.
exactly where I was going. Nick at Night's My 3 Sons.
My first thought was Tatooine.
See, I'm thinking that too, but there's only 2 because we're all nerds at this table, and we know that. This is a 3rd son, and there was people that lived there before. They don't know what happened to them. They find out. I guess they find out, and they find a little ship, and they can get it off the island, off the planet. I think it's Gilligan's Island now. They can get it off the planet if they repair it, and that seems very easy until the eclipse comes.
And the talking horse comes out of the ground. Mr. Ed.
Because we're still doing Nick at Night.
Yep.
We used a Mary Tyler Moore reference on the last one I did, too.
Right. Anyway,
But they weren't talking horses. They were the bugs from Starship Troopers.
they aren't the Bugs Protector Troopers. They have much better budget. The three sons get blocked out, and they have to try to repair the ship in the darkness when all of these creatures who can't go in the light come out to murder them. Although apparently not when they touch the ground. That was a plot point that I had a hard time with. All these things are flying at them, and she yells, "Get down!" And I guess things that fly just don't think to go down.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It was a weird moment.
It's like the T-Rexes that can only see movement. Those things can only see things that are above the ground level. Otherwise, it all looks like ground.
I guess that's true. We saw it through the eyes of the big creatures. They have problems with vision, too. And Riddick can see in the dark because his eyes have been shined in prison, which is a thing so stupid you just have to believe it. You just have to buy it.
Why is it stupid? I unquestioningly believed it. I was like, yeah, I'm in.
He dug up a surgeon in prison. You buy it or you don't.
You don't want people sneaking up on you in the dark. You see?
I accept it as what's going on in this world. Now, the two things they tack on here are the captain gets killed in the crash they're getting hit by debris. He gets killed right away. So the pilot has to wake up and try to save the ship. And her way of doing that is, I'm going to murder everybody. That is her plan.
She tried for
She tries to murder everybody. She can save herself by releasing the passengers into, I guess, death. Maybe they would live. They were close enough to the ground at that point.
There was the one guy that survived, right?
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know that she...
Depending on, I took it as depending on where she pulled the, I guess, eject all passenger sections of the ship, it would really factor into their survivability, right? Like if they're high up when she let go. But
I guess, but she wasn't thinking about that. She was
just trying to kill them all, but they survived, like you said, Mark. She did start doing it when she got lower down. So,
well, she spends the whole movie now realizing that she's a horrible person and trying to save everybody. That gets her in the end. And then the cool thing they put in here is that Richard B. Riddick is a prisoner, and he's got a bounty hunter on the ship with him, who I don't know what his plan is, because he seems very scattershot in how he's going to collect this bounty.
So, I'm sorry, his name is Dick B. Riddick?
Yep.
Okay, go on.
Well, I don't know, because this is a different world where they can shine eyes. Maybe Dick isn't short for Richard in that universe. You can't just assume anything.
So his name is Penis B. Riddick?
That's right.
Oh, yeah, it makes more sense.
Yes. And I looked at the B's in there. It just... nobody introduces themselves like that.
I wonder what the B stands for.
Badass.
Bratwurst. Penis, Bratwurst, Riddick. And mostly this movie is Vin Diesel just being cool. It has one of the dumbest cool shots I've ever seen in a movie, where another one of these prisoners, I think he's a prisoner, runs up and he gets shot in the head by a different guy. He's like, I thought that was Riddick. Don't know why he thought that. And then it just zooms in to Riddick sitting having a drink on top of a Winnebago. It's so stupid. I
Like a
love
little
it.
umbrella.
Yeah, it's so dumb. I love it.
Well, he was always hanging around in the background. You'd see him just kind of like lurking, chilling.
He was as out in the wide open as he could possibly be in that moment.
It was so cool, though.
At that point in the movie, really, they're almost setting him up to be like the thing that they're fighting, too.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Because the whole first half is about, hey, all these survivors. Because he was the only prisoner. The rest were settlers, and the imam was on, a pilgrimage?
To New Mecca.
Yeah. That was also all his kids died. That
They
was,
weren't his kids.
they were his foundlings, weren't they?
Yeah. And you can really count down how the movie goes just by counting them off as they go. Because one goes at the end of Act 1, one goes in the middle of the movie, one goes to kick off Act 3. They use them just as the plot points in the movie.
Right. But all of them, the first part, it was them versus Riddick. Riddick is stalking them. They've got a cop, the cop bounty hunter who was bringing him in is with the survivors.
Johns. He's played by an actor named Cole Hauser, which sounds like the fakest name anyone has ever come up with.
Isn't that the bad guy from Total Recall?
I don't know who the bad guy of Total Recall is, but I do
Or
know.
no, or was it his other name for the Arnold Schwarzenegger character?
It sounds like it's right.
But I do know that in the 80s, there was a movie where John Cryer had to come up with a fake name, and he looked around the room, and he saw Maxwell House can,
Oh my-
and he called himself Maxwell Hauser.
I remember that movie. And then he went back to school. I think he was hiding from the mob. And then he fell in love with this, like a student there because he was being a student. And somehow that wasn't illegal, Mark.
Now I know what that Family Guy cutaway was referencing.
Maxwell Hauser. I could never forgotten it. I couldn't even tell you. Hiding Out. He's Hiding Out.
Griffin. Peter Griffin.
It's such a stupid thing. The Keith David plays the imam. Keith David of The Great Voice and Community. Last season of Community.
You know, it's funny. I see him all over the place, but then I can never remember him from a specific movie. It's just he pops on. I'm like, hey, it's Keith David. And I'm excited.
And there's a girl pretending to be a boy for reasons I've never understood.
Because she thought it would be easier to not be a girl because people don't bother you as much. She said that, I think,
She did
in a
say
speech.
that, yeah.
On the ship?
Where they were in cryosleep?
What, somebody's going to go fondle her in cryosleep?
I don't know what happens
The
in
pilot
space.
never thought about this?
I don't know what happened. I just took it at what I was told in the script.
She might have been smart because I know that the one thing about space is that no one can hear you scream.
I'm trying to think if I know something else about space. It's big.
It's the final frontier.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I had. It's big.
Riddick spends, the first part of the movie being an ominous threat that would only work this one time because we don't know who Vin Diesel is yet, because now we know he always has to be the hero. So it was actually menacing and cool and believable. And it'll only work this one time, ever, because I think next year is Fast and Furious, where they try it again, and like you almost immediately are like, oh, this guy's the good guy, because he can't hide it, I guess. I don't know. He's not a good actor. Like I said, there's nothing about him that I think is actually good. I just think he's my favorite person in the entire world. I can't explain why.
Remember when Paul Walker was still alive? And the Paul Walker movies? I don't know how you recall Paul Walker from the Fast and the Furious, Mark, but he was always, every movie he was in, I had no feelings for. It was a Paul Walker film. I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. It was just a Paul Walker movie. And I kind of liked Paul Walker because of that, just because he made these movies that affected me in no way. Like, nothing.
We're talking Varsity Blues. We're talking Joyride. We're talking... I defy you to find any emotional attachment to anything that I'm talking about.
Not for his performances, anyway.
Until around Fast 5, where I'm like, everything is the greatest thing that's ever happened in cinema. And I need to watch this movie like pretty much every day over a summer one time, because it only gets better every time you see it.
I like them too. I don't know why I like them, but I do. I even like it when they presented the other one.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah, I liked that. I thought that was a fun movie.
There was a Hobbs and Shaw joke in Hard Eyes, and I just saw the other day, and I was like, why? Like, because it was positioned as like a joke they built up to. And it was supposed to be like this big reveal, like, oh, because her name was Shaw, the one cop, and then you find out that Devon Sawa's name was Hobbs, and she's like, Hobbs and Shaw, and they're both like, we haven't seen it, and I'm like, that was the joke? I was very confused by it. And it was written by Christopher Landon, who directed Freaky, and he directed Happy Death Day, so like, he gets jokes. I've seen him be funny in movies. Like, where did this line come from? I guess they don't all work. As this podcast is a testament to, they don't all work.
Yeah. They're looking for that Michael Bolton from Office Space payoff.
I'm just sitting in the theater thinking, this joke doesn't hold up in 2025. This movie's going to exist much longer and hold up less and less every time someone watches it. I don't think you'd like Hard Eyes.
I don't even know what it's about.
It's a slasher movie / romantic comedy that never figures out quite how to mesh the two together. There is a full-on romantic comedy movie happening. And the best parts of it are that their meet cute happens, and there's like, oh, there's a slasher killer that comes around every Valentine's Day and kills couples. And the slasher killer sets his hard eyes on them, and they're like the whole time going, we're not even together. And it's like, it's kind of funny when those moments happen, but the movie has to make a choice in the end, and it's like, I think it has like a perfect ending, and then it blows it. She's denying her feelings. Spoilers for Hard Eyes. Who gives a shit? It's not been out of theaters by the time this comes out. He's played by Mason Gooding, the guy that I like from the Scream movies, the guy that plays the twin.
Oh, yeah.
And
Chad.
They're both great in it, because she's got to be both the final girl and the rom-com lead. And she's great at it. He's very effortlessly charming. It all works. It's just that it slows the pacing down of the slasher parts, where the slasher parts don't work as well. And I did think that the slasher parts help the rom-com, because I don't care about rom-coms. But she's denying her feelings because she's been burned before. He's very open to love and falls in love hard and quickly. It's like, it's all the setups you expect in these movies. So she's got to run down to the airport and stop him from leaving. And I'm like, see, this is funny that they've ended up here after a slasher movie. But then it like doubles back and is like, let's get to the slasher stuff and reveal stuff you don't care about and drag this on for another 20 minutes. And I was annoyed because I guess I ended up invested in the romance part.
You do like those rom-coms.
Again, you say that all the time. You have no examples.
She's All That.
I don't like She's All
You
That.
own it.
10 Things I Hate About You.
That's
a
correct.
pretty good movie. I'll give you that one.
That's the one.
All right.
He's the one who's over here talking about how he loves French Kiss and he loves...
French Kiss is great. Serendipity. You like that one.
I own a lot of movies because at the time I bought movies not just for me, but for the girl I was with for like 6 years.
That's what he says. He was trying to get me to watch She's All That when he's like, oh, it's better than you think. That Freddie Prinze Jr.
I come over here and he's like, you want to watch Moana?
It's a
Like,
good one.
Life runs in circles, my friend.
I just watched Encanto last night. I've never seen the whole thing before. I just watched it in parts. It's another good one.
He does. He refers to these movies that he knows I'll never watch and don't care about as the good one.
Have you seen Moana?
Yeah, I love Moana.
Good, see?
Why have you seen Moana?
I don't know.
Because it's a good
Good
movie.
question. The Rock? No, that's not why. I actually, I like Disney films. I don't know what to tell you.
It's fun when they're fun. Sometimes they're just bad. Disney has some bad movies. I don't care what. Frozen 2 was terrible.
Yeah, Frozen 2 did not live up to Frozen.
That whole sentence was absurd to me. Anyway, we get to see Riddick fight Johns. And
Oh, yeah, John's the cop is a bad guy after all. He's a drug addicted, bounty hunting something. He's not even a cop, right?
he's not a cop.
No,
He never
he's not
told
a cop,
anybody he
yeah.
was a cop.
They just
And
kind of made an assumption.
yeah, and is he? Yeah, okay, he's a drug addict. Doesn't make him a bad person. I want to put that out there. And I mean, some of us have had our time in the 80s, and he's doing a job that he's been commissioned to do. Riddick is a bad guy.
But didn't we see him like let somebody suffer? Like,
Because he
at
didn't
some
want to share his morphine.
oh yeah, and I thought there were other instances of him just being dickish and kind of like
I
cruel.
mean, he is kind of a dick for the whole movie.
Sure. Do you want to tell me though that when you crash land on a planet, it's not every man for himself at that point? You're the one who tells me that if there's a zombie apocalypse, the kids will make good to throw at them and slow them down a little bit.
Yes, but the kids have already told me that I'm not going to make it.
No, you're the first one to go.
Yeah, and Kitty has told me also that she's going to shoot me at the first sign of a zombie apocalypse and just claim that I was a zombie if anyone asks.
I think it's pretty ambitious that he thinks he can outrun Sam.
It's true.
I thought you were going to say a zombie, and I was about to get mad, but I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
It's true. I've seen him run.
I lost a race to a turtle once.
Yeah, you brought that up before.
I know.
We never ask any follow-up questions. You ever notice that?
No, because it just bothers me. This haunts me. Like a literal turtle outran me. I don't even know how that's... I'm just sad.
And we got to see Riddick take on one of these creatures and then spout the line that I think probably was when people went, oh, this guy's got something. Did not know who was fucking with him.
That was great.
He's talking shit to a dead creature.
I know.
And I was like, that's the moment I fell in love.
See, it's fun. These are all things you're bringing up that are fun. What are the dings against it if you guys don't think it's a good movie?
Oh, well, first of all, those aliens don't hold.
Oh, yeah,
those
that's-
creatures don't hold up at all.
Fair. Yeah, that's tough. Oof, that's
They do
tough.
look good when they're just the little ones flying around look fine. But when these big ones with their teeth, when he's staring at them, like, the 2000 CGI.
I thought the little ones were worse. When they're flying around the core drilling room, it looked like, I don't know, something out of early Buffy the Vampire Slayer season. Hey,
Well, you've named something that's good.
Buffy's coming back.
That's what they say.
That's what I heard.
It's not official.
Sarah Michelle Gellar released a statement that they're working on it.
Maybe it's official by the time this comes out, but it's not official yet. How do you feel about that, Pete?
I don't know. I'm of all the shows that they want to keep throwing these like legacy sequels at. I'm like, okay, I'll ride Buffy. I'll see how it goes.
Whoa.
I don't want to get in.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is going to be mad at you.
I don't want to get in.
Like, we all haven't had that thought. I mean, come on.
It's Fred. I don't want to get in Fred's way. Oh wait, Freddie Prinze Jr. played Fred in the Scooby Doo. I just realized that.
And she was Daphne.
I know, I knew that, but I didn't. He played his own name.
Well, her name's not Daphne Michelle Gellar, so he didn't. He didn't. If
I
the
never
penny
figured
dropped-
it out.
His penny didn't drop for him. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer is my favorite TV show of all time. Yeah, I think that's still true. Twin Peaks is too. And they brought back Twin Peaks, so why the fuck not? No Joss Whedon, But
yeah, that's what those short little tiny dactyls look like. Was just bad CGI.
But those, when you look back on Buffy, first of all, it's practical effects, so that doesn't make any sense.
Well, then you know what I'm thinking of? Doctor Who season, the re-release with
that makes more
Eccleston.
sense. That makes more sense. Did you watch the new Doctor Who?
I haven't watched in a few seasons. I have to catch up at some point.
I like the new Doctor.
Okay, yeah.
I like Shooty. Shooty Gatwa. He's great.
Oh, okay.
I like that guy. He was, what did I see him in?
Barbie,
Sex Education, maybe?
maybe.
Yeah.
He's great. He's a great doctor. Like right from the drop, he's like, oh, this guy's got it. And it's the first time I felt like that since Matt Smith, who's my favorite doctor.
Yeah.
Although I fall in love with all of them eventually. David Tennant, not until he left the show, came back 20 years later, but that I did.
So I haven't watched since that happened, where they, the whatever doctor Jodie was.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I'm lost on the numbers at this point, but
Oh, yeah, I stopped. I just refer to him by actor name now because I don't know.
She'd have been 13.
but yeah. So I liked Jodie by the end. I just thought her storylines weren't very good.
She didn't get the good writers.
I didn't think it was her fault. I thought
No.
she was very likable as the doctor.
She didn't get good writers.
Yeah.
They had all left the show and they gave it to the guy that made Broadchurch, who was not built for Doctor Who. I felt bad. I think they should bring her back with some of these. I'm not saying the writers now are great either. It's a lot of the chemistry between the two leads. And one of my least favorite things about Doctor Who is when the companions are lusting after the Doctor.
Ugh.
That's why I like Donna,
Donna's the best
because
Donna's my
that
favorite.
never happened.
Yeah.
And in this one, Ncuti Gatwa's character, although they're never going to explicitly state it, clearly gay. And he's got a whole episode with Jonathan Groff where they have more chemistry than anybody's ever had in the show. So she's not, the girl he's with is not like doing that with him. And I'm like, I like it. Friends having adventures in space. I love when the Doctor go off and have your romance with River. Go off and have your romance with this Jonathan Groff character. Go off and have your romance with whatever. But just get in the TARDIS and hang out with Donna. It's the best ones.
I forgot what I was going to say.
All right. Another worthwhile little cutaway to Pete.
I like to contribute.
The Dr. Donna.
Yeah, that you didn't see the ones, and they pay all that off in a very clever way. Because they bring Donna back.
Oh, they do bring Donna back.
When Jodie Whittaker, this is getting all the way into the nerd here. When the 60th anniversary was coming, everybody knew that the new Doctor was Ncuti Gatwa. But Jodie Whittaker didn't transform into Ncuti Gatwa. She transformed into David Tennant, who was the Doctor again, and had 3 specials that took place over the 60th anniversary before Ncuti Gatwa came along, where him and Donna are on more adventures, solving problems that were left from the last time they were together. And there's a reason that he became that character again, and there's a really beautiful ending, and Neil Patrick Harris shows up as a bad guy, and it's awesome, and those were really fun. And it could be a good place to jump on, is just start with the first David Tennant back episode, because there's only 3 of them, and then you get right into the new season.
Okay.
And I liked those. But I also liked, who was the old guy?
Capaldi.
I love Peter Capaldi, too.
Oh, yeah.
By the second season, I thought his second season of the show was maybe the best season they ever did of Doctor Who.
I could buy that, yeah. The first season was rough.
Yeah.
But they found their footing. Honestly, he became awesome.
He was great. And he was like a childhood fan of the show. So it's cool that he got to do it. And David Tennant was too. And Matt Smith was a child when he got it. And Ncuti Gatwa was only 30 too, so that's cool. Anyway, back to Riddick.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
The
Pitch Perfect.
You asked me what was bad about the movie.
Yes.
There's nothing bad about the movie. I just think that it doesn't have. It's a very simple movie. If Richard B. Riddick isn't walking around being fucking awesome in every scene, how good is the actual story of this movie? How good is what's going on in this
But
movie?
he is. So
I'm aware
I'm not
that he
playing
is.
What If.
Well, to put this in terms that I know you don't understand, if we were awarding the things, he would be up for Best Actor. This movie would not be up for Best Picture.
Yeah, I don't understand that. It's all one thing.
Yeah, he has a real hard time.
It's just
with this.
not a real compelling storyline.
No, and it doesn't have to be simple. Like I told you when I got down here, I just watched a movie where a smartphone was found in 1802. And what would people do with a smartphone that could answer all of life's questions? And it's a simple premise. It was a simple movie, and it was kind of fun.
But how would it answer anything? There's no satellites.
You're not supposed to think about that. And I when I wrote the review, I talked about how, of course, my first question was, how does it stay charged? How is it connected to anything? And then also, why did nobody ever try to use it as a phone? And then I thought, that's actually a pretty funny joke that they never tried to call anybody. Because I was curious what would happen since it's clearly connected to Google and the voice assistant can answer all their questions. But there's no movie if it can't do that, so you're just supposed to accept it. And it's funny because, like, the movie doesn't make any judgment on it. it's just saying, here's how we use information. It's like they find the phone, and it's very helpful because they learn what maps are. They learn, like, the patriarch of the family dies right before they find the phone. He gets killed by a rattlesnake. And then partway through the movie, the guy realizes, like, fuck God. God let him die. Like, if I had this phone, what they call Brittany, because the case says Brittany on it.
Okay.
If I had Brittany, they would have told us how to save Dad because it knows what a fucking rattlesnake is. And it's like, that's true. But at the same time, there's negatives that come along with information, especially when his brother gets addicted to porn. And it's a pretty good movie. It's not judging information. It's just saying, like, there's good and there's bad. It could save you in the Wild West, but sometimes you're going to take your eye off the ball and then you're going to get murdered.
But what are the negatives?
Well, the one guy's wife falls down a rabbit hole of vaccines conspiracies when there's not even vaccines in 1802. And she's got her own ideas that she's learning on the internet, which is funny. She's worried about all these things, and it's like, there are no vaccines for you in 1802. What are you talking about? But she read about them on the internet.
All right. Well, I will agree that it's not a compelling story, but he makes it watchable, and it's fun enough. It's trapped alien planet, giant bug monsters, and look at this crazy villain.
The thing that it has
hero?
The thing that has going for it the most is that he's not the main character.
Agreed.
So he can be cool and just off center. Whereas you're given the arc of the pilot, and it's fine. And she's good. Rhoda Mitchell's good in it.
You're thinking she's the main character, really. She's your point of view.
She
You've
is
been following her.
She's clearly the main character.
Oh, okay, good. I thought it was smart figuring that one out.
She's the only one with an arc.
Riddick had one. He went from bad guy with shiny eyes to I guess a kind of good guy with shiny eyes.
He definitely leaves a good guy. That is incontrovertible because the last line of the movie tells you that. When she says, "What are we going to tell them about you?" And she said, "Tell them Riddick died on that planet," because that's true. When the pilot died, it all changed for him, and that's why he has the great line, "Not for me," and then he does it a second time, and I love it because he can't raise his voice as Riddick. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. He wants to yell out "Not for me" into the darkness, but he can't, so it just comes out "Not for me." It's my favorite thing that ever happened in any movie ever. It's so good because the first one's like really emotional. It's like the best act ever done. "Not for me." And then he has to do it a second time, but he can't rage at the heavens because his voice doesn't do that.
That is one of my favorite line deliveries ever. I forgot it was there. And then when he said it, I was just so happy.
I genuinely think it's the best line delivery in the history of movies because it's so funny. You can't purposely make something funnier than him trying to yell, and Vin Diesel can't yell. Have you ever seen Vin Diesel yell?
No.
He raises octaves a bit, but he doesn't raise his voice. It's funny.
Does the one scene in Guardians of the Galaxy when they're escaping the prison count? When Rocket's on his back and they're...
Oh, yeah. That's
But
true.
it's not really shouting, is it? I feel like that was almost more... that was enhanced with
I think it was
special
definitely
effects. And
I think if you were able to strip that down, you just hear him going, "Not for Groot." I think that "Not for me." It's been 25 years since I first saw it because I saw this. I didn't see it in theater, so I guess 24 years. I probably saw it when it came out on DVD, and probably because I was walking through Blockbuster and I was like, "This looks cool as fuck." And then I saw it, I was like, "This was cool as fuck." I never knew who this Vin Diesel character was. And when you get to the end of that movie and he does that "Not for me," I'm like, this followed up the emotional resolution of the story. He's a changed man. It's a very important moment, but he can't do it. But fuck, he tries. And I respect that he tries and fails to the level that he does so much that it's my favorite line delivery in the history of movies.
yeah, because you see Riddick is tormented. That's a man dying and being reborn. It's two different line read. One, when he says it the first time, that's Riddick dying. That's Richard B. Riddick, the villain, dying. And now, when he says it again, "Not for me," it is
Penis bratwurst Riddick rises. That's the moment because she does die for him. So now he has to make it worth it. And I've never seen the second one. I'm assuming that he's pure hero.
Yeah, I don't remember the second one at all, Mark. What it's a big space adventure, and there's like necromongers and
Judi
Dench.
So, if I'm remembering it correctly, and it's possible I'm not because it's been a while, but it starts out as kind of the opposite, where they're running from the sun on a planet, but then the third act becomes like a space opera.
That's what it always looked like in the trailer.
Yeah.
And he fights some big bad guy he's not... He's like some kind of like there's a prophecy, and he
Oh
fulfills
yeah,
it. Yeah,
and he's like the king of the necromancer, isn't he? Doesn't
So
he become the leader?
that's how it ends. Spoiler alert.
That doesn't matter.
The necromonger culture is if you kill something, you keep it. Like so, if you kill their king, you become their king.
Well, these movies only continued because he became a big star in Fast and Furious, and he was bankable. And he was like, "Well, I want to go back and do these Riddick movies." They even made a video game with him. That's actually great.
I remember I couldn't get out of Butcher Bay. I got my shine eyes, and I had to crawl through like the air vents. I couldn't get out.
I guess that's true.
I'm still there, Mark.
The game's
mentally.
called Escape from Butcher Bay, so he failed. They put like $100 million into the second one, which they should not have done. It did like break even at the box office, which means it lost money. But then they went back and just made like a $35 million third one that made like $100 million. So they were back to fine, and they haven't done anything in over 10 years. And the third one, the reason I didn't want to watch the second one was I just watched a really good movie that I loved. With him, I don't want to see him be the hero star of the movie. That's not why this movie worked. And I was like, they're going to get it all wrong. And I'm assuming they did. But the third one goes back to a similar thing. They're on a planet. There's a bunch of bounty hunters he's got to get past. He's more the star of it, obviously. But it's more like the first one. And it's okay. Because it has a good cast. It has Starbucks in it. And it has Batista's in it.
Oh.
And Carl Urban's in it, who I think is in the second one, maybe.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
he is.
I forgot about it until you mentioned it. Yeah, he is.
He's in everything.
He's in the great movie Dread.
It's a great movie.
It is fantastic.
That's what I saw that in the theaters in 3D. It's the only time like I saw a movie in 3D where I was like, I kind of enjoyed that this was in 3D because when she gets thrown out the window, it's very cool.
Oh, that must have been fun. Yeah, you're right. You know how you can always see when a movie is 3D when you're watching it at home? I never put that together before, but her falling with all the glass and stuff.
It's very cool. And I love that movie. And I wish they had made more of those. There was going to be, and then there wasn't. And then there was going to be a TV show, and there wasn't. And I really wish that they had ever done that because that's one of the great movies of that decade, I think.
Didn't he make a robot movie or show where he was like a cop with a robot partner?
It's been a while. I can't
Almost
remember the name
Human
of
or
it. Was it Almost Human?
something.
It might have been. But that was really good too. It was a one season and done. But
I know he's in The Boys, which I've never watched.
I saw season 1. He was good in it. And so is Jack Quaid.
I like The Boys a lot.
I'll get there. It's on my big list of like I really enjoyed season 1, but I didn't immediately jump on season 2, and now it's been like 6 years.
Like they keep trying to like get rid of his character because he's always going off the rails, but they can't because he drives the whole show.
I never read the comics either, so I don't know what the storylines are like.
Didn't even know there was a comic. I assumed that they were making it up to...
Yeah.
Here's my assumptions, having never seen 1 second of The Boys. I assume it was made by someone who is tired of superhero movies and wants to just see what happens if dicks are superheroes.
Well, that's the comic. From what I understand, was made to do that to comics. It was before the MCU that comic came out. I believe.
It was. There was one for Free Comic Book Day, which is one day in like May every year where they have a bunch of free ones to get you in. I picked up a the Boys comic. Mm-hmm. I can't remember what reissue it was for or what kind of thing, but it was. Keep in mind, it said mature for mature readers. It's like a full-on. All the heroes are like a full-on orgy at a pool, and there's dicks and boobs and everything all over. I was like, Free Comic Book Day indeed.
It does happen in the show too. It's kind of like Watchmen, though, like where it kind of takes superheroes and turns them on their head in a way.
Well, Watchmen, the movie. I'm not going to go on a Zack Snyder tangent because I fucking hate Zack Snyder, but I do actually love the Watchmen movie.
Well, I think there might be more if I have to look back, but there's 2 Zack Snyder movies that I actually enjoyed. It was Watchmen and 300.
Never saw 300. Saw Dawn of the Dead. Great first 15 minutes. Kind of shitty after that, but it's watchable. And then I loved The Watchmen. And then I watched his Batman and Superman's, and I was like, oh no, I hate you now. I hate you forever. And I want to.
Have you watched his Star Wars movies on Netflix?
No.
Wait, what?
So he was supposed to make a Star Wars movie. Somebody finally figured out that was a terrible idea.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So he just says, well, I'm going to make my own. So it's just not set in Star Wars, but it's clearly just a Star Wars movie, except it's terrible. And he put it out, and it got terrible reviews. Then he put out part 2, and it got even worse reviews. And then he put out like the 4-hour cut of the first one. And I was like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Because I can't keep claiming to hate this man's work if I don't sit and watch this man's work. I got 25 minutes into the movie. Nothing had happened. I was like, I hate everybody in this movie. I hate every choice he's made. And like, I'm trying to go in and be like, okay,
Open-minded.
it's like a $200 million movie on Netflix. Like, I'll at least enjoy that there's, effort and work put into this and hundreds of people working on this. And then I watch it, I'm like, all I can see is Zack Snyder's stupid face, and I hate it. I couldn't get into it at all.
What was the zombie Las Vegas heist movie? I think that was a Netflix one.
Yeah, that was bad too. That was when Batista's in that, which is nice. But that was like I can't remember what it was called. Something of the Dead, because he was just taking it like an offshoot of his own.
Mm-hmm. Was that Snyder too?
Yeah.
I thought so, because that one it just looked like a Snyder movie. I've never seen it, but all the trailers.
I think they had to do a heist in the middle of Vegas while there were zombies everywhere, which sounds like a great plot, except who directed it. And I think that like right in the opening scene, somebody was driving out of Las Vegas and they played "Leaving Las Vegas" by Elvis, and I'm like, I'm done. Like, I watched the whole thing, but I'm like, I'm done caring about it, because you can't stop with your fucking needle drops and your slow motion, and it's not a style; it's a crutch. Somebody has to tell him that. Well, Watchmen, though, I actually like his Watchmen because he has this. I know he changes the ending completely. Pete and I have argued about this. I have no problem with him changing the ending in the movie. I think it's an ending that makes complete sense. The thing that keeps him on track is that he basically has to stick to a story for a long time, so he can't just go off on his own random weird whims. And yeah, he's got a great visual style for that, because it's depressing as fuck, and that's how I feel watching his movies. Now, how someone watched that and said, who should do Superman?
The symbol of hope and justice?
Yeah. Now, the reason I like Watchmen, and I think he's good at directing Watchmen, is because he fits the material better. I don't know that he understood the material, but he's just filming frame by frame, so it works fine for me. The problem with Watchmen is it came out at the wrong time. It came out 2 years before Iron Man, or the year before Iron Man. Imagine if that movie had dropped after Avengers Age of Ultron, when that movie wasn't as good, and people were like, oh, I've seen the same movie a lot of times. Boom, Watchmen hits. That would have been big. It just mistimed its release.
Like the Watchmen series that HBO put out was only a few years ago.
Yeah, it was excellent.
But yeah.
I liked it.
And
I
it takes
actually watched it.
It takes a lot of its visual stylings from the movie Watchmen too, which I appreciated, even though it doesn't take the ending. It keeps the original book ending. But I don't know. Pete and I have always argued about it. Like, he doesn't like the Watchmen because it's 3.5 hours long. He doesn't like.
It's really that long.
They changed the ending, and I'm like, I've never had a problem with them changing that ending. And yes, I also read the book when I was younger, and I love the comic, and I love the story, and I have no problem. It's the same exact theme, but it uses something that makes more sense in the sense of a contained movie.
You know what? I just realized now what I don't like about it is they changed the ending coupled with the Zack Snyder, just his style. I just, it's not enough for me. I'll just read the book. I don't need to watch it. I can read it. It's good.
You could say that about any fucking thing.
Yeah. So I'm saying he did it poorly. If you can do it right, I'll watch your movie, your adaptation of the book. But if I've read the book first, I don't need the adaptation. I think really fucking back before what's-his-face got bad, Spielberg, Jurassic Park is one of my favorite adaptations to film. It's not anywhere close to the book, but
Well, he changes the ending too.
I know, and it works for him. It's got to be Snyder.
I don't think it works any better or worse than the Watchmen ending.
It's Snyder's style. I don't like it. Like, coupled, and the 3.5 goddamn hours.
Do you know how fucking stupid it would have been sitting in a theater watching Watchmen if after 3 hours it was like, here's a giant squid monster? I'd have been like, it's stupid. It's stupid. It was stupid in the comic too. It's just that it made sense because of how it goes. But if you can find a different way that it goes, but it ties into the actual character work of these things, it's perfect. Did I just say Zack Snyder improved Watchmen?
In a roundabout way.
Which is funny because I hate him. I'm like his biggest anti-Snyder version.
We don't know. That could have been a producer, don't?
I'm sure he didn't write. Well, maybe he did. I don't know.
You just love Zack Snyder.
I do love The Watchmen. Well, we've talked before. Is that it's, when I watch Kong and Godzilla, I look for their penises. I never see them. But when I looked in The Watchmen, I saw that big blue dong. And I was like, realism. Cinema.
I just saw a picture on the internet of a gorilla riding on another gorilla's back, like a piggyback ride kind of
Was
thing.
it silver?
No, it was just a gorilla riding another one, like a game of horsey. It was weird. That was it. I just saw it.
Thoughts on Riddick? Or no? Is that what it's called? No, Pitch Black.
Pitch Black.
I keep thinking it's called Riddick. Riddick's the third one.
My thoughts. It's not pitch perfect, but it's pretty good.
No, but if Vin Diesel had broken out into song,
Oh, man.
if there had been a riff off in the middle with him and Johns, tell me that wouldn't have been better.
No, I like Pitch Perfect, and there's a lot of singing in that movie.
I also love Pitch Perfect.
Right, but I don't like
Perfect's
musicals.
excellent.
I think it's because I don't like when people sing what they're doing or sing plot points or sing a conversation. Like, that's not what I like.
Did you watch any more Wicked, Pete?
No.
Wasn't he
No.
just saying how he liked Moana and Frozen?
Yeah.
I did, but they're not singing about what's happening. They're just,
I'm pretty sure that's
wait,
exactly what happens. in
that
Frozen.
is what's going on.
They're singing exactly like how they're feeling and expressing it through song.
I dare say anyone who's ever sung in a movie is singing about what's happening.
They weren't in
I mean,
Pitch
I
Perfect.
guess technically Pitch Perfect is just performing other songs.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, see? Oh,
Sings an original.
interesting. I'm going to have to think about this some more. I've got some contradictions I got to work out.
Yeah, I do love the first Pitch Perfect. I don't hate the second one. The third one's terrible. There, that's been my Pitch Perfect review.
That's a pretty fair review. I like it.
I've seen that first
Josh
one.
Allen's fiance was in the second and third one, I think.
Yeah, she was also in the what's that show called?
Bumblebee.
Between Two Ferns movie.
Oh.
Where Zach Galifianakis asks her, "You were in the second and third Pitch Perfect movies. Do you ever wish you were in the good one?"
I like that movie.
It's good.
No, I enjoyed Pitch Perfect. It's an old movie. It's aged as far as special
I
effects.
can't tell
go.
if he knows he's not talking about Pitch Black or if he doesn't.
Yeah, which one am I talking about?
I don't know. I don't know what the special effects are.
I was
in
going
Pitch
to say, what
Perfect.
special effects?
No, I'm talking about Pitch Black. I had nowhere else to go with that Pitch Perfect line. But it's fun. It's a fun movie because of the character of Riddick. I'm kind of interested in watching part 2 again now because
You've seen it before?
one time, probably back when it came out, and I don't remember anything at all about it. Except, you're right, Carl Urban was there,
Yeah.
and he does become, I think, the king of the necromongers.
Well, I'm the one who said that, so I'm going to take that I'm right.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, either way. So in part 3, when it starts, he's no longer the king of the necromongers?
I don't know what tied in from 2 to 3 because I never watched 2. I just know that they're on a planet and people are trying to kill them.
Okay.
It'd be kind of funny if 3 just ignored 2 completely.
It might have. It really is just like, let's take the John's character, have 6 of them, and have them all after Riddick on this planet, where it was also very sunny, as I recall. Although, unlike Alien, I'm pretty sure they don't just go back to the same planet. Where I forgot that. I didn't realize that for a long time.
Me neither. I did like in Pitch Black just how it was shot too. The sun, everything looked so stark and alien. It was cool.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I still enjoyed it, even though it definitely didn't, live up to my memory of it. And as we've discussed, Vin Diesel's portrayal of Riddick really drives the good feelings that still remain for the movie.
Is Riddick, like, is Pitch Black thought of well in the horror community? Like,
Nobody thinks about Pitch Black.
no one thinks about Pitch Black? It's a pretty cool movie.
I get, it probably just doesn't do anything different, probably, right? Like, there's no...
I don't know. I've never heard anybody talk about Pitch
Yeah.
Black. I feel like it's a movie that we like because we're of an age where it came out when I was 20. And I was like, oh, it's perfect.
But they're still making the Fast and the Furious movies.
It's, dare I say, pitch perfect. They're still making Riddick movies. I just told you another one's coming out.
Wait, what?
They're also maybe making Buffy the Vampire. I mean...
Wait, Buffy's coming back too?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what a glorious day is upon us, gentlemen.
My only concern with a Buffy reboot, because I think there's a million different things you can do, and I'm interested in most of them, is don't do anything with the original the show. Like, show started, she arrives in Sunnydale, show ends, she leaves in Sunnydale. I don't even need those characters back. I don't need to know what happened to them either. Like, just do something different.
I mean, I'm good if we never see Xander again, so...
I love Xander. Well, as people tell you, I spent a lot of my life defending the more questionable characters in movies and TV after Stathis and Ellis and who was the last one? Trevor in Candyman. I'm the defense force for these horrible people. I never defend Walter Peck.
He's a dick.
He's my least favorite of the ones, but I do defend these other horrible people. And I don't think Xander's horrible. I think Xander's misunderstood.
I think in the reboot, they should, at the end, have Buffy wake up, and then for some reason Xander is in her car, and there's a backpack with a bomb in the back of it that Patton Oswalt put in.
Why would you do this?
Then it blows him up.
I'd gone a day without thinking about that. Now that's over. Why did they do that? Why did they do that?
That would be the greatest way to start. That would how you start the Buffy.
The thing that makes it 100 times worse is that there never was any more. If there was another season coming and it happened, I'd be like, I'm so mad, but I'm still going to watch. And now it's like, no, that's just the end of the story. Like, fuck off, Hulu. Oh, wait. Oh, no. It's Hulu again.
Why? What was the first part of Hulu?
No, Hulu's what did that to Veronica Mars, and Hulu's bringing back Buffy.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
I'm like,
So you're saying that my idea has a chance?
I'm like the Showtime guy who was like, I love Twin Peaks. I don't care what it costs and what we lose. Tell David Lynch to make more Twin Peaks. And they did, and it was awesome. The Hulu guy seems to be like, I see people like this Veronica Mars. Let's make them pay for this. But I think you could do so many different things with Buffy. She should be, first of all, I don't really want to get into a world where there's a billion Slayers. It was a perfect ending to the show. I don't need to see it. Something happens in canon because there's only one when you get to the Frey comic. And that's canon because she pulls the fucking weapon out of the rock at the end of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the same one that Frey uses. So in canon, they're all going to die at some point anyway. So let's just pare this back down. Something happened. All the Slayers are wiped out. I don't care, except for Buffy. And then she can find a new Slayer and she can train him. Train her. Perfect.
Yeah, all right. I could see that.
I
She's the
don't
Giles.
think she's going to be doing all the fighting.
No, she is. And
She
solving
might.
mysteries.
Yeah. I don't need those characters, though. I don't need it to recreate. Part of it is the Twin Peaks thing. Like, it didn't give me anything that I thought I wanted, and I liked it better. So don't give me anything that I think I want. People are going to be like, oh, I can't wait to see the gang back together. Never put the gang back together. Do one episode maybe where you catch up on everybody. But it's been so many years. Ground the thing back down because it got too unwieldy maybe at the end anyway. Although people didn't like when it was grounded in season 6 either, so I don't know. But I'm for them making it. Oh, shit. I forgot he's got to do his nonsense. There's like a great moment every time in these podcasts where I think I'm going to get away with it. Then he looks at me and he's like, guess what it's time for?
Do you know what time it is, Mark? It's knick-knack fact time. I got a bunch. Oh, wait. I also have my credit check. Let's skip that page. What do we got? What's a good knick-knack fact? There's a bunch. I got a good one.
If there's a bunch, why have you never used any?
Here we go. You ready? You're going to like this one too, Brian. All right. So, Nick Cage in his house. He's got a picture of Prince roller skating in hot pants and with the Batman tank top on. That's a knick-knack fact for the both of you.
Fascinating.
Right? It's a pretty cool picture, I think. I'm wondering why he has it or where he got it, but I can see it. Shall we move on to the end credits? There were a bunch this time. I watched the whole thing. Unfortunately, I wrote it in pencil. Okay, some interesting things. There was, first off, no Best Boys, but there was one with the second unit. For the first time in a long time, we had a Best Boy, so good job, Marcus Watson. Now, we had a digital weasel. I looked it up, too. I can see you both looking at me all confused, but I don't know what it is. I could not find anything, but a digital weasel did do work on the set of Pitch Black.
How many porn videos popped up when you searched Digital Weasel?
Not that many, actually. You would have thought there would be more, but I probably had like safe settings on or something because kids. All right, now here, this was an interesting thing I found that I think you'll both find very interesting as well. There was an assistant accountant, an accounting assistant, and an accounts assistant. All three of those things were different jobs on the set of this movie, and they were all filled by people. Ooh. And then I saw something called a Coober PD liaison. And I didn't know what that was, so I had to look it up. And it's that town in Australia that's like all underground. It's a big opal mining. Do you guys remember that? Brian probably does. But you probably know what I'm talking about, Mark. Yes? You're nodding? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's what it was. And I'm like, oh, they've used that in move. Obviously, it's all that underground stuff. But while I was looking that up, also what Coober PD means, it's Aboriginal for a white fella's hole.
Oh, interesting.
So I was like, good to
Seems
know.
like one you should have saved for Ken.
Are we going to rename that Mount McKinley also?
Probably, right? Ooh.
I don't know what anyone's talking about.
All right, hold on. Oh, now this one. This is really weird. And I did do research, and unlike the Digital Weasel, I could find it out. There was a Domino supervisor and a Domino trainee. So, obviously, like Digital Weasel, Domino, I don't know what those are. I got to look them up. Couldn't find the Domino, says...
Like Domino's?
That was where my... Like Domino's the game? I didn't know.
Domino's the pizza?
Right. So I looked it up, and a Domino supervisor on a film set is the area supervisor or shift leader responsible for day-to-day operations of one or multiple Domino's Pizza stores, acting as a leader or manager for a team of pizza makers.
Oh, wow.
So that's your and furthermore, there are 167 positions available in the U.S. So if you want to get your start in film, that's where to apply.
All right. Good to know.
All right, that's all I got for my credit check. Pretty good one though. There was a lot happening this time.
Well, I want to revisit something that we talked about on the Candyman podcast. So it hasn't come out yet. So unless Mark is very sneakily breaking into my computer,
I thought it came out last week.
he's never heard it. It came out last week. Yeah, it hasn't come out at the time of this recording. At the end of the episode, we got into the infinite monkeys with infinite typewriters. Pete said something brilliant, and then he proved to me that it was a mistake, an accident, because he said, I don't think, the thing, an infinite number of monkeys with an infinite number of typewriters will eventually, one will produce the complete works of Shakespeare. And he said, I don't think there's a room big enough. And I said, that's fucking brilliant. And then he said, also, I don't think there's enough typewriters. And I'm like, oh, it was an accident that he said something brilliant. Well, and I said, this all came up because on, what is it, Comedy Bang Bang? What was it, the Scott Aukerman shows? He said, that's not true. It would never happen. They would never do it. And I'm like, it's a thought exercise about infinity. Of course it would happen. I'm wrong. It wouldn't happen. No one monkey would do it. An infinite number of monkeys would do it infinite times. That's how many times it would happen. Every work of everything would be produced an infinite number of times. That's how that thought exercise works. So I was annoyed because as soon as I was packing up last week, I was like, oh, I'm stupid. I'm trying to defend that one monkey will do it. An infinite number of monkeys will do it.
See, they didn't have enough typewriters when it was one monkey. So now he's got infinite monkeys there's no way the typewriters are going to be near plentiful enough.
I just wonder if you know, like, how brilliant there isn't a room big enough is.
My leg is cramping up.
I think you might be struggling with the definition of infinity.
No, he's like, sounds like math. And I was like, it's all the math. It's literally all the numbers.
It's the number 8 on its side.
And I don't remember what episode we talked about this. Maybe it's out already. Maybe it's coming in the next 2 weeks. It's been a mess. But Pete told me that him and Kitty have been putting gremlins in other movies. And I said, I think we did that with Vin Diesel before. We did do it with Vin Diesel before because we talked about how his T-Rex would have to have large arms because he'd have it in his contract. So I wanted, my position on this is there is no movie that wouldn't be better with Vin Diesel. That would, let me see if I can.
What is your position?
An infinite number of monkeys will get this right one time. My position is that there is no movie that's ever existed that wouldn't be improved with Vin Diesel being in it. Vin Diesel is Frodo. Oh my God, that's the best thing I've ever heard in my life. I'd finally watch those movies.
Or Gremlin as Frodo.
No.
A little gremlin.
No, it's always, I think that kind of is what Lord of the Rings is. It's Vin Diesel. Could you imagine him being like, I need that ring? Imagine him as Samwise. I'll carry you. There's no role that isn't improved by Vin Diesel. Imagine him as Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic or as Kate Winslet in Titanic. Ooh. It's amazing. Imagine him as the captain of the ship. Imagine him as one of the people playing his instruments as they go down. There's no role that isn't improved by him. The unsinkable Vin Diesel, it's perfect.
I still like Gremlins in a lot of these roles you're describing.
I think it's insane. I think that Vin Diesel improves everything. A Gremlin, I think you get tired of it. Do you ever get tired of Vin Diesel? No.
I want to see Titanic with Vin Diesel and a Gremlin.
I want to see Moneyball with Billy Bean, played by Vin Diesel.
So you just want to have Vin Diesel remake every movie that he will be willing to do.
Imagine Vin Diesel as Sloth in Goonies. I'd finally like Goonies.
No, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't. I probably wouldn't. Are you a Goonies guy?
I've seen it. I'm not like one of the people that has the nostalgia factor for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You hate it more than I do, but it's not a good. Like I remember watching it a lot as a kid. It never stuck because I was a Monster Squad guy.
Without knowing the level to which you hate it, I'm going to agree with you. That's true. I genuinely hate the movie. I think it's terrible.
It was always just kind of there when I was a kid. It was in the background. You know, most people watched it. I watched it. I tried to watch it with the kids. So I'm like, hey, watch it. No one cared, not even me. Like we just wandered away individually till it was just left playing to an empty room.
I can't even tell you why I hate it so much. I used to go over to my uncle's house and he'd put it on in the basement.
Did he just unlock something?
Yep. Wait till he realizes we're in a basement right here. He's probably going to shut down completely. It's just you and me, Mark, now. We got the show.
No, it's okay. I've replaced my uncle in my memory with Vin Diesel, and it's all better.
I guess you're right.
Imagine Vin Diesel as Deadpool. Just like look around here. Vin Diesel is Han Solo. Vin Diesel is Chewie.
Deadpool.
Yeah, anything. Spider-Man.
Vin Diesel is David Bowie, the Goblin King in Labyrinth.
Who am I? Spider-Man. Not for me. How did he not win an Oscar for Not For Me?
The Academy has always been behind the times.
They have been. They're getting a little better, but it's still not good enough. Could you imagine him as Demi Moore in The Substance? Could you imagine a better version of Vin Diesel popping out of that back? Oh my God.
Just standing there naked in that bathroom.
Now you're imagining it.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like I'm in your uncle's basement.
It's too real.
Oh, I forgot. Did you guys watch the whole credits or no? Okay. So,
Let me tell you how it goes for me every time. The credits start, and I go, click. I've never watched 1 second of one credit.
well, there was like a continue. What do they call those? The little teaser trailer things at the end. The after credits. They had one for it. It was all the stuff ends, and then it just goes pitch black. And you're like, ooh, we're back. We're back in the movie. And I sat there for like an hour. Nothing much happened.
Did the screen go pitch black?
Yeah. So I knew we were back like on the planet, but I couldn't see out of Riddick's shine eyes. So I was just like listening and waiting. Didn't really hear much, but
Okay.
I think we were hiding from the bugs.
It should have ended with these several minutes that open 2001: A Space Odyssey, where everybody's always like, is the movie not working? Because it stays black and you hear a hum before the orchestra starts for like 3 straight minutes and people lose their minds. And I think it's pretty funny. And also, that movie would be better if Hale was played by Vin Diesel. Noted for his voice work. I can't do that.
I can't let you do that, Dave.
I can't do that, Dave. Can you think of any movie that wouldn't be better? I just don't even... Just imagine him trying to play these parts. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm struggling to come up with something where he couldn't improve it.
Yeah, I think he could do a pretty good job. You're right, Brian. You've swayed me. Well done.
Like, what are the greatest performances of all time? People are like Marlon Brando doing On the Waterfront. I think he's kind of doing a Vin Diesel in that movie, to be honest with you. He's already kind of doing it with his voice.
He did try. That's not the greatest performance of all time, though.
Well, I picked ones that people think are great.
Who's that guy in that movie? Shit.
Grease 2?
Grease?
Yeah.
That's that reference again that no one understands. Grease 2 is Michelle Pfeiffer, that white gold.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed that you knew a song lyric.
I'm a little impressed too, to be honest with you.
I got nothing else to say about Pitch Black. I think it was a fun movie. It's dated, but Riddick is a cool character and he's fun. I'm excited for a 4th one. Eventually, I'll see the 3rd one. It's Riddick running from people.
Is Riddick fighting off? As I recall, I think it came out 2013. I saw it like when it came out.
Okay. Are there other monsters on this planet that he must face?
I don't remember.
I'm gonna guess yeah.
Probably going to go home after this and watch Chronicles of Riddick again and then watch Riddick for the first time.
Ooh.
I don't think Riddick's good, but I enjoyed that it was like a basic movie again, and I think that's what this has to be. Just make a basic movie and let Richard B. Riddick run around. He laughs every time I do it.
I don't know how I missed that his name was Richard B.
I don't either, because it's a big scene in the movie where the what's the guy, he collects antiques or whatever.
Oh yeah, that guy
who's like the most I'm going to die soon guy in the history of movies.
Yeah, the I wanted to die in France guy.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm whatever, and he's like, I'm Richard B. Riddick.
It took him a while to die, by the way. I thought he would be one of the first to go in that movie. It was his umbrella that Riddick was sitting on and used her chair and umbrella and such.
Who was the first to go? The woman who didn't stay down?
No, it was the guy who crawled
one
into
of
the
the kids.
cave.
The captain,
That's right.
I guess.
The guy that crawled in the cave. I mean, when they crash. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The guy that
Yeah,
crawled
right.
in the cave.
Technically.
No, was it Noah or something? I remember.
Yeah, it was something like that.
The girl screaming his name a bunch.
And Riddick's like, he's in that hole. And she's like, well, I better go in there then. And I'm like, for what?
Yeah, right. That sounds like his problem.
That was actually an effective scene, though, with the creatures behind her, and you don't know what they look like yet.
Yeah.
And then you see what they look like, and I'm like, it's not as good. But she was good in it. Her arc was fine. I didn't expect her to die the first time I watched it. I guess I should have, because the entire thing was how she'll die for people. But when I was watching that at 20, I wasn't paying attention to things like that. And I remember the first time I saw it, I was confused as to what happened because I still didn't know if Vin Diesel was a good guy or not. I thought he had like stabbed her to get away.
And it almost plays it like that.
Yeah,
Yes.
it 100% does. It makes you wonder, like, oh, shit, did he just do that?
That's what I wondered until he delivers his classic line and I realize how broken up he is inside. That his attempt to scream to the heavens.
The bugs would hear him. He can't. He's got to contain all that.
I don't think that's what
That's
it was.
what it was.
I
You
don't think that's
You can see him slowly grow a conscience throughout the movie.
Well, he's going to leave her, he says. He probably is. But it's not that she talks him out of it. It's that he realizes she's someone worth saving. And that's why his whole life changes. And I was like, it's a really good character arc. And it's funny because I've never wanted to see the second one when this seems like a setup to something better. And then I saw the trailer and I was like, this ain't it. Like, just have him crash on another planet and have there be other bugs and stuff to fight.
It's just like that monkey that shows up and kills our family. It's, he crashed on another planet again, that Riddick.
That monkey that likes to kill our family, he's back. We haven't seen it yet. We're going to see it next week. The monkey. Next week, 1986 awards.
I was there, Mark.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
I was
2 weeks.
I was listening to the tapes.
I never did listen to them.
He never did. 2 weeks from now, UHF watch along. And after that, I think we're actually going to have like a nice run of regular episodes where we watch a movie and talk about movies. It's been a long time. Actually, it's just been a minute, but
Don't you have a month of David Lynch planned at some point?
yeah, those are still watching movies.
Yeah.
You're still watching a movie and talking about the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yes, thank you. So, everybody just do your best not for me, and then we'll get out of here.
Let me get ready. Oh, man, I lost it.
Or you can do did not know who was fucking with if you want to.
Yeah. I don't know any other lines from Riddick movies or Vin Diesel movies.
I want all that in here.
The things I'm about to do for my country.
Fantastic line. I love Triple X.
Never
I've seen it.
Saw the trailer.
I feel like I should watch it, though.
Triple X might be my favorite Vin Diesel movie.
Oh, boy. All right. Maybe I really should watch this.
My favorite Vin Diesel movie is A Man Apart because he's at the grave and he goes, "Don't watch me now."
And then no one did.
Nobody did watch it now. He got what he wanted. Power of Vin Diesel.
He wanted to, that was his turn to try to be, I guess, a dramatic actor, and it was not a good turn. But then he went and did the Pacifier, and that's a pretty good one.
I did see the pacifier. It's on HBO one day.
It's a fun movie.
I can't be judged for what comes on HBO on Sunday at 2:00 in non-football season.
I've also seen the one where The Rock is a tooth fairy. I think Stephen Merchant's in that one.
That one wasn't as good.
I never saw the Mr. Nanny 2 with The Rock.
Yes.
Do let's go.
Not for me.
Not for me.
And this has been the Scare Value Podcast. I'm going to edit in Vin Diesel doing "Not for Me" instead of mine. And I'm going to be great at it. All right, we'll see you next week.